as our story opens, we find ourselves in a densely wooded forest.
That's Bailey.
Where lovely Prudence Pureheart is picking wild blueberries while whistling a merry tune. Unbeknownst to her, the village villain, Dirty Dan, is creeping up behind her. Creeping up behind her. Somebody needs to turn around. He sneaks up behind her and says, "Hello."
Hello.
She screams loud and long. Loud and long. 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 The villain covers his ears with his hands as she screams, as she is screaming. She slaps the villain in the face. Gently. This is a melodrama. He puts his thumbs in his ears and waves his fingers at her. She screams and beats him. He marches around in a circle 3 times, then heads for home to steal her grandmother's money. They exit. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Jay, you want to turn that back just a little bit? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Prudence's grandmother is sitting on a chair, stirring some cake batter on the table.
Is that me?
Yes, that's the other grandmother. And you're sitting on the chair, stirring batter on the table. There, come in and you move back a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the cat is sleeping underneath the table. We got the cat to stay still for a while, I hope. The old dog, Shep, enters the house and barks at the cat. The cat jumps into Grandma's lap. Grandma slaps the cat and says, "Get down, you dirty creature." No, "Get down, you dirty creature." Yeah, but loudly.
Get down, you dirty creature.
Thank you. The cat jumps down and runs outside. The dog comes over and licks Grandma's hand. Maybe it's just as well I'm back here and can't see what's going on. Grandma kicks the dog. The dog goes and lies in the corner. Just then, the villain enters the room dragging Prudence behind him. Grandmother screams. Grandmother screams. The villain says, "I'm taking Prudence and your money."
I'm taking Prudence and your money.
The villain kicks the dog.
You bet it wasn't a cat.
Prudence puts the back of her hand onto her forehead in a swoon and cries, "Alas, alas."
Alas, alas.
Just then our hero Dudley Do-Right enters and shouts, "Forsooth and anon!"
Forsooth and anon!
Prudence folds her hands at her heart and says, "Oh, my hero Dudley." Louder.
Oh, my hero.
Dudley says, "You're my little lotus blossom."
You're my little lotus blossom.
Isn't that sweet? Prudence says, "You are my big, strong man."
You are my big, strong man.
Now the action picks up. All of a sudden, the villain picks up the chair and throws it at Dudley. It knocks Dudley to the floor and knocks him out at the same time. Prudence swoons and falls onto the table. Onto the table. Grandmother tries to revive her by slapping her hand while sobbing, "My child, my child."
My child, my child.
Prudence runs outside to the forest for air. The cat re-enters the house, jumps on the chair, and then runs under the table. We need the chair back here again, I guess. Okay, that's good. Dudley stands up. That will be fine, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, it just looked familiar. Oh, man. Dudley stands up and begins flexing his muscles. The villain begins to tremble and shake. The villain begins to tremble and shake and his knees knock together. His knees knock together. The dog starts barking and the cat starts meowing. Where's the cat? Where's the cat? Oh, yeah. Dudley decides to warm up the fight, so he does 3 jumping jacks. Then he runs in place for 5 seconds. 5, great. All this while grandmother is sobbing, the villain is trembling, the dog is barking, and the cat is meowing. All of this is going on at the same time. Then Dudley flexes his muscle again. The villain seizes his opportunity and hits Dudley on the head. Dudley falls to the floor unconscious. Just then the cat scratches the dog's nose. The dog chases the cat.
Get out of here!
The dog chases the cat outside. Granny shouts, "You nasty villain," and starts hitting him in the stomach.
You nasty villain!
The villain doubles over. She gives him a rabbit punch on the back of the neck. He collapses unconscious. Granny looks over under the 2 unconscious bodies. She then straightens her shawl around her head and heads out the door for a night on the town saying, "All's well that ends well." Hey, give our actor. You don't need any excuse to do that. Now I know where all the